Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. I am John Halcyon. This is a daily practice of gratitude and connection and setting our sails for who we want to be today. I'm in a very unique chapter this week. So I'm super grateful for this practice, super grateful for community, and super grateful for all the safe spaces where an open heart and tears and support and everything is welcome. So thank you for being a part of that for me. If you're here, say hello, leave a comment. Let us know where you are, what you're grateful for. Good morning, Gurbat. Good morning. I'm not going to do a song today because I tried to sing a song when I was so sad about Janus, and I didn't like the way it felt to try to make my silly song, sincere. Sometimes those are hard to do together. And the reason why I'm sad again. I'm embracing sadness additionally, I guess. A beloved campmate, Khrusty, passed away. And yesterday morning, I want to apologize or thank you for understanding to Michelle and to Panos, who came into this chat room, this live broadcast yesterday to connect and to share and to grieve together. And I did not really address that because I knew at the time that Khrusty's death was not public, and I'd been asked not to talk about it until enough people had been called, so that as few people as possible that loved him wouldn't have to learn about it on social media. But now people are sharing photos, talking about it, and so I am feeling and speaking and celebrating Khrusty today. I also have lots to talk about Janus. We had I had several things. I saw Janus yesterday. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And we had a bonfire, kind of holding space for Janus and with the community last night, which was so beautiful. All the while, I'm holding this space of two people I love, one passing, the other on the final road. So I've never been in the place that I am right now. I guess that's always the case. Every day you're in a place that you've never been. But this place is another new one for me. Good morning, Gurbat. Thank you. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Kiri. Jackie says, happy day. Grateful for my daughter making it to her 42nd birthday through epilepsy and multiple heart surgeries. Happy birthday. Good morning, Tara. Khrusty is on the screen right now. You've probably seen him. He was one of the original Pink Heart people. He helped shape the culture. He was a doctor who helped me through many a Burning Man scrape and questionable rash, and I'm so grateful that I got to know him. He's so unique. So silly, playful, fun, wacky, whimsical, and enjoyed revelry. Such a good mood party guy. And a brilliant doctor. He was one of the before I really knew many people who were solid people in our in the default world, and solid people or wild people in Burning Man. He was one of the people that I got to really witness balancing the worlds, being fully expressed without sacrificing all the dependability and responsibility that sometimes gets dropped when you charge down that path of radical self-expression. Sometimes there are consequences, and I think he was one of the people that really demonstrated the ability to be a radically unique, brilliant light, and still hold a respected place in default culture. And then I got to witness him meet a campmate and fall in love and get married and build a life together. And in the way that he was so, he and his partner were just like so beloved. They were Rangers, Burning Man Rangers. It's been really beautiful to watch people posting things about him yesterday as to see the intensity of love, the I guess seeing like he's the kind of person that you go, I didn't think that energy, that light could ever be extinguished. Like that. So right now I am so grateful that I got to cross paths in my limited consciousness during this limited one single life I have in this body, that I got to build shit with him and build a family. Build Pink Heart and make it something that will outlive us both, I hope. Thank you, Carrie. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Jackie. Thank you. Carrie says the light was not extinguished. Yeah, good point. And so many people are brighter because of his light. It's just a lot, I was making plans to go see Janus yesterday morning, to say goodbye to Janus, and I'm sorry, I say Janus and Janus because there was a time when he called himself Janus and later he called himself Janus, and I get stuck in which one it is. I think he called it Janus at the end, so my apologies. But it was a lot to be having death such a huge part of my life right now. And I'm feeling like I'm really trying to think of this as like advanced graduate level classroom for what will be the rest of my life. If I stay healthy enough, I'm going to witness and be a part of many incredible people dying. I'm going to hopefully be able to help my parents die. And I don't want that to take anything away from life And in fact, so I'm trying to find ways and to make every death what adds the spice to the living. What adds, and I really do feel like I'm so, this last 6 weeks with Janus in my meditations and my consciousness so deeply every day, that I really feel connected to a present moment connection more than I think I ever have. Like, well, I'll be holding Lisa, and I just go, vroom, and it's like I'm just so grateful for this now moment. And I think that staying aware of the transitory nature of all things is, I mean, and grief and loss. These are the payments that we pay for the gift of the awareness and the reminder of the miracle of being alive in this moment right now. And I saw my parents yesterday. I drove by to give them a hug, and I fucking never take any moment with them for granted. I'm so glad that my parents are alive to see me meet Lisa. So grateful that I'm pretty sure my mom got to meet Khrusty when she went to Burning Man. Tara said, let's light that love sign now for him. You know, fuck yeah. I turned it off because I thought maybe there would be... Yeah. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Andrew. Good morning, Chris. Grateful for your ability to share this difficult time, but also his light for us. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Yamil. Andrew says, dealing with death is how we really get to touch life. It's really true. I my first suicide attempt was in 5th grade. That was actually the only really attempt I made. But considering suicide has been a part of most of my life. Not in, I think, in a morbid way, just in a... I've always found it to be a helpful way to evaluate my choices, evaluate how bad things are, evaluate like how stuck in my ways am I? Like if death is on the table, like what are the things, how radical could my decisions be? Like and so death has always been a part of my philosophy and my spirituality. I find it very helpful to guide, to give me courage. Like, I think about all the time my grandpa on his deathbed and how at peace he was. You know, the common thing on the deathbed, I wish I would have spent more time with, not at the office. My grandpa didn't say that. My grandpa dedicated his life to loving people and being kind and spreading peace and fighting for people's rights. Like, and so I think about, how do I want to feel when I die? I want to feel like looking back and like good use of a life, old man. And I find that to be a healthy thing. So yeah. Michelle, thank you for coming back. And I don't know if you heard me say, I'm sorry that I didn't address it yesterday. I just knew that been asked not to talk about it publicly until more people were called, and so I didn't want to get into it yesterday. it would have been nice because I know it was hard to hear and then not talk about it. So Michelle is saying, I'm so grateful to have had Chad's bright light shine on me. Yeah. I mean, man, the people that I'm in my, like, Janus and Chad are fucking special people. Like, I am really lucky that by shining really brightly for the last 25 years, I've been drawn to me really incredible, bright people. People that leave a shadow when they're gone, but have lit up so many people. So I'll transition a little bit to Janus stuff. Not transition, we can go back and forth. It's all related. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning, Krista. So last night we had our friend Ryan got the news about Janus, and unlike me, the first time realized, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was so bad, and having all these emotions around it. So can we get together? So we had a bonfire that was really beautiful. Probably 20 of us. His boy was there with Shannon, his boy's mom, and little adorable 1-year-old. Like, maybe the most adorable 1-year-old. His parents are gorgeous, and so first we just socialized and, hey, how you doing, hugging, and I tried to share the details that I had that other people didn't have. Then we got in a circle, and Betsy kind of started it Stay Sparked style, just kind of, and then she passed it to me, and I in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to talk much. I'm just going to answer people's questions because I spent more time there and with him, and I was like, basically, look, this is not a memorial. He's still with us. He's like 6 miles away right now, but he's in between worlds. He's on the way. And so we can take this time together to, share our gratitude for him, think peaceful thoughts for his transition, tell him he's done a good job, and this is the chance to applaud the player as he's leaving the field for the last time, and we'll have a chance for memorial later. But one thing that my friend Michael, then Betsy said, like, let's speak to the fire, because he knows. We told him this morning. He knows we're going to gather today, and we're going to be speaking to the fire. Oh, no, we're going to gather the fire and hold space for him. She goes, he knows we're here. He's in this liminal space. Let's speak to the fire, to Janus, and tell him things that we want to tell him, which I thought was such a good idea, And I really, once she said that, I started like feeling connected to him as people were talking. But my friend Michael was like, this guy touched a lot of people, as a 6'2", 6'4" black guy with dreads. He has a presence, like he was noticeable in the world. He is noticeable in the world. And to carry that, like I wore pink hair. He had no choice. His whole life, you notice him when he walks in a room. And like the number of people that were touched by that, by him, by his energy, by the way he held himself in this presence, and the way he spoke and his ideas. And he was one of the people that I called him around the time. I go, Janus, you're like Johnny Appleseed for ayahuasca. Like, he introduced so many people and brought people who worked with the medicine to San Diego, and introduced me to a lot of people that have become, parts of my life, huge parts of my life. So that was incredible. And Khrusty is the same way. Like, if you cross paths with Khrusty, with Chad, he's in you. Like, whatever energy, whatever vibes you're putting in the world from now on, it's got a little Khrusty in it, or it's got a little Janus in it, or a lot. And I was smiling and tearing up just thinking about, like, yeah, that's, I mean, it's not about how many people, if you just touch one person, but I did love thinking about the ripples of these people. Nothing, you wouldn't go to a party with either one of them and go, I'm not sure if they were there. No, you would know. You would know. Bernadette says, we are all better having been loved by him. Yeah, right? Krista's saying Janus is really special. Yeah. I don't understand. This person is, I think I'm going to just block this user. There we go. Carrie's saying, do I know the story of his name? I do not. Oh, Carrie. I have no words. I love you so much. It's funny. I can't even. I'm not even sure. I'm pretty. I have this memory of, I think it's too illicit. I think it will incriminate too many people. But I have this memory of being with the two of you, and it being profound. And I just think of all the people that have these profound moments. And I find some comfort in knowing that that's what we do with a life, is we live in a way so that there are hearts all over the place that are changed and blessed and made better and made brighter because of the incredible luck of crossing paths with you. And I feel that way about Chad for sure. Carrie says, I love you too. We were together because of Pink Heart. I think I know exactly what you were talking about, actually. Well, good. It'll be between us three and no law enforcement. I do want to I'm going to take Chad off the screen for just a second. Because I want to share about the yesterday morning that I had, which was visiting Janus. He'd said the last time I visited him was like 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and at that time he was not willing to talk about the fact that he might die, and it would have taken a miracle. So I was holding on to the belief of miracle. In fact, but he, did not want to talk about it, did not want to do any paperwork that would address it, and so he just kept saying later. So, and then after that, he kept saying, whenever I asked if I could visit, he would say, "No, not a good time. My treatments are intense right now," or "No, I'm too tired. No, no." And then, like 3 days ago, he changed his directive to just comfort measures only, meaning like we're no longer going to try to treat this like I'm going to die. So just keep me out of pain until the end. So he finally was like, I get it. And he signed one thing and nodded into agreement about that's the care I want. I know, I understand what's happening. He had cancer pushing against his vocal cord. So even when he could talk, it was like this. And that had not much talking at all. And so Betsy went to see him 2 nights ago after she flew in, went to him to the hospital, had a beautiful visit, and got him to agree to that Betsy and I could both visit the next day, and so could Shannon and his boy. So we all met at the hospital, and as well as Lynn, who's been there by his side almost nonstop, like sleeping in the parking lot of the hospital, and we all hugged and connected. We've been talking. None of us have been in the same place, but we've been in this inner circle of keeping this secret. And we got to hug, and then Betsy and I went in his room, and it was such a beautiful experience. I wasn't sure if I needed to see him again. I felt like I saw him at this really weak state. Like, do I need to go back? And oh my gosh, like the difference in my heart from talking to him without addressing that this could be the last time versus talking to him when we both know this could be the last time. I was able to really look him in his eyes when he could keep them open. They're like mostly half closed, but occasionally he could open his eyes fully and give me eye contact. Occasionally nod, and sometimes he would try to respond and be like, but it sounded like just so hard to like, I know you're trying. I don't want to. It was hard. That part was hard. Just wondering, like, I wish I could hear. I so wish I could know where he is in this space of between worlds. But I got to tell him, how much he's inspired me, my admiration, my gratitude, the ways that I am changed, the ways that, he started the first men's group I was ever in, my introduction to men's work, Janus. He introduced me to my mentor, who I'm doing a men's group in Santa Barbara, full day men's group. This is something I'll maybe talk about more on a different day, but I'm doing a full day men's group with my mentor, Ishmael, in March. And Janus introduced me to Ishmael. Janus introduced me to men's work. Janus is an important person in my life, and I got to tell him all of that. And then Betsy and I each held one of his super skinny hands, and Betsy said, is it okay if we share our tears with you? And he kind of nodded, and so she started crying, and I mean, clearly I'm a crier, but I just didn't feel any tears at all. In fact, I was looking at this man, once mighty physically, and now so frail. And still, in his eyes, he's struggling to open and looking at this super thin version of the face that I know. And all I saw was this like powerful being. And I just had this awe and this reverence. And I wasn't sad in that moment at all. I felt honored. I felt so honored. And that moment, so she's crying. I'm holding eye contact with him, or holding his hands, and it's like this feminine, masculine. The three of us, got really close as we did our podcast together the last 2 years, and I'm so glad. I will treasure that. That it was a really beautiful moment. And then Shannon came in with Rumi, and they had a beautiful, beautiful connection. Shannon at the bonfire, she said, my first choice would be that he miraculously heals and he gets to see his son grow up. But my second choice is what happened yesterday, that we had a chance to say the things. And so, it's so much sadness, but also these moments of beauty, and I know that's very different than the Khrusty situation. That's so abrupt and so unexpected and so hard to, like, the process of Janus dying has been, it's been quick. He got diagnosed at Thanksgiving, so that in that sense it's quick. But it's, last weekend Khrusty was 100%. That's a whole different level of pain and grief. Thank you, Kiri. Thank you, everyone who's here. I've never, like I said, I've never been in this place where, I feel so, I feel so in the place of death right now. And also so alive. I'll celebrate 2 years sober this month, not including psychedelics and plant medicine, but 2 years, and which means that I'm experiencing my life with a clarity that I haven't in decades. And in that clarity, I am in an incredible relationship, an incredible home. I feel like I'm doing really good work with my clients. I feel like I'm deeply grateful every day. And I have to believe and recognize that it's the preciousness of everything that makes life so incredible. And to have the vantage point of our blessings, of the miracle, of the gift. Sometimes you lose things and people. Now, one of the things that I've talked to a number of campmates and friends about is, one of the things that I'm learning by being in this place for weeks now is you really have to be aware of when you feel a responsibility to be sad. Like sometimes you start laughing or giggling. Like yesterday, I did yesterday's broadcast. I let myself be happy, even though there was so much sadness in my world. And it's easy to feel like that's not cool. You can't be sad while there's so much sadness or so much suffering. But that is so not the case. Be sad when you're sad. And then if a kid is laughing next to you, laugh with them. If you distract yourself with a movie, enjoy the movie. If you have a chance to go dancing, dance. But when the sadness comes, cry. I had a friend last night who was having a birthday party this weekend, and he thought maybe he should cancel the party. It seems like the wrong time to be having a celebration. And then he realized that's crazy. Like if you wait until all the suffering is over before you celebrate, you will squander your life. The spiritual path, one of Lisa's mentors once said, she said, like, on her deathbed, like what is the most important, maybe not her deathbed, but Lisa got an audience with this mentor of hers, this woman, and said, what is the one spiritual teaching, that if you could pass one on, so that the goal of the spiritual path is to hold the suffering and the joy, to learn how to hold it both. And I don't think Khrusty or Janus would get any comfort knowing that a birthday party was canceled on their behalf. That is how we honor those that have passed, is by appreciating and celebrating our lives and knowing that part of the way we live is because of the ways they have touched us. Kim saying, thank you for sharing the experience you had with Janus. We felt so disconnected being on the other side of the country. One thing that I get that, and it's, even people that are close, he's not allowed in. But as Betsy kind of framed last night, that he is in a space between worlds right now. So if there's ever a time when you can communicate with him through prayer, through meditation, through speaking to a fire or a candle, it's now. Virabhat says, such a blessing to be able to be there with him, to shepherd him to the other side. I hope that I can live a life where I find myself surrounded by amazing people with me by my bedside when my time comes. Yeah. I've thought about that too. Like, what will I leave? I hope it's a party. I actually, years ago, I made a video to be played at my celebration of life. I think I need to re-edit it. I made it when I was doing a lot of ketamine, and I had well, actually, I first made it when I got a car accident on the way to a ayahuasca ceremony. And I said, what if I would have died, and at my funeral, they talked about how tragic it was that I was caught up in drugs, or, and I lived this lifestyle, and that's why I died. I was like, oh man, I got to make sure that people know that I have factored death into my decisions in life. Like, I have chosen a life with more risk in it. I've chosen a life where, like, Burning Man is dangerous. It used to be more so, but even so, but I would rather live with a potential death as part of my life than a safe life that protected me from anything that was too much, And so I made a video about that and how grateful I was for my life and how I have no regrets and such, like, I stand by all my decisions, even if you're watching this and I'm dead, I, at one point, high on ketamine, I fell and I woke up on the ground bleeding from the head with broken glass all over the place. And I was by myself. And I was like, oh, I definitely could have died tonight. So you know what I did? I thought to myself, like, you could have died tonight, Maybe you should change your behavior. And I did. I went out and I bought a helmet. True story. Gerbot says, I'm grateful to be able to be here now as we share all the ups and downs of the precious fleeting time we have together, right? And make Burning Man dangerous again. Yeah, I think it's good to know that death is always possible. I think it can give you courage. Sometimes I think about, what if you grew up in, I watched the show, Tombstone? No, not Tombstone. Timothy, all of it, the cowboy movie, Wild West show. And it's rough. And I mean, all sorts of ways to die. And I wonder, if you knew that any day you could fall off a horse and any infection could kill you. If death was really fragile, I think it would make it easier to go on an adventure because there's no safety really. And the truth is, even with our fancy houses and seatbelts and protective, life is super dangerous. It's super fleeting. And even if you do everything right, your body can just shut off. So you gotta appreciate it. You gotta go for it. You gotta say, I love you. You gotta say, I'm sorry. You gotta make sure that you're going to bed going, okay, I feel good about how I'm living right now, because I do not want to be on my deathbed and say, oh, fuck. My bank account is impressive, and the number of people that I owe apologies to is long. You don't want that. Gerbot says, life is an adventure. Don't forget that. Yeah. Anybody else want to share any gratitude that related to anything? One of the things that makes life so rich is adjusting your baseline so you take less and less and less for granted. I am grateful that my parents live so close. I'm grateful that I have storage in this new house, so I was able to bring some chairs that I had in the downstairs storage to the beach last night. I'm grateful for my awesome Contigo mug that I brought tea to the beach with, so I got warm tea as I was around the fire. Grateful for this technology that allows this connection. Tara says, I saw on the news years ago that a guy died in his house, in his bed, in a sinkhole. That's when I realized I got to get out and live. Yeah. It's the game of life is not won by avoiding risk. It's not a survival game. It's a experience game. It's not how long you live. It's what you do while you're alive, how you live. How well do you strip away the shit that ain't you? How courageous are you in unearthing and healing the trauma? How brave can you be in opening your heart to others? How in alignment can you be and then act in the world from that place? It doesn't mean you have to climb Everest. Being an adventurer can mean being brave enough to speak your truth to your partner. It's not the size, it's the direction. It's not the distance, it's the direction. And if you are walking in the direction of your truth, that is an adventurous life of honor. And I know that Janus and Khrusty can be at the pearly gates, walking tall. I love you too, Gerbot. Curie said, I heard an incredible quote yesterday. The ups and downs of your healing journey are like a needle stitching your wounds back together. Oh, great. That is good. Good morning, Cookie. I love you. Zahid, wow, long time. You know, one of my favorite Burning Man videos of a pink ride has you smiling and laughing and hugging at the end. And I think I have it in slow motion. And it's just so fucking, my heart just goes, so even though I have not seen you in a long time, you have added much sunshine to my world. He says, love you so much. Grateful for knowing Carrie and having known Chad, who brightens my day just thinking about him and his impact. Carrie says, I'm grateful I still have all my loved ones. Grateful for life. Grateful for living a life I'll be proud of when I pass away. That is the greatest abundance you can have. Chris is grateful my surgery wounds are healing. Grateful my community acknowledged me in a ceremony recently. Grateful to connect with others. Awesome. Was that the ceremony that you looked like Shay? But I'm happy to hear you're healing. Oh, your profile picture has you in that outfit. Awesome. Gerbot saying, it's not how long you live, it's how well you live. Amen. Tara says, I am grateful for the hummingbirds outside my window. Hummingbirds, I mean, doesn't it feel like a hummingbird is kind of like Tinkerbell? Zzz, you're like, little magic in the world. Love you too, Zahid. Juan is grateful for another day to do good in the world. Yes, exactly. That is the kind of fundamental baseline of Love Morning, is to remind ourselves that we are all love ambassadors, and you don't need to get fixed to be kind. You don't need to get anywhere. You are fully qualified right now to add light to the world, to live in the way that is in alignment with your values, to reach out to a friend, to send a text saying, just thinking about you. I've been doing that in the car sometimes lately, leaving voice messages to people that I haven't talked to in a long time. Well, this has been a longer broadcast than normal. I do this every day at 9 o'clock. It's sometimes more silly and light, but it's always coming from the heart. And March 13th, if you're in Santa Barbara or near Santa Barbara or know somebody near Santa Barbara, a man or man identifying person that wants to spend a day with me and my mentor, Ishmael, for some beautiful, it's called heartcenteredmen.org. In fact, if you want to look at the page and just give me your feedback, heartcenteredmen.org, and then click on upcoming events, and you can see the page there. I'd love to if you have any feedback or thoughts, or, oh, I know somebody that would be good at this or would love this. It's I think $190. We decided to make it really affordable for the day. Yeah. So I'm grateful for this connection, these people, you. So let's close our circle by wherever you are. Hug the body you're in or the body you're with. Grateful for being alive and conscious and being able to open our hearts and connect with one another. And grateful knowing that there's so many of us out there. And grateful knowing that we can be the permissionary. We can be the one that lets somebody else know, just by the way we live, that they can be more open-hearted and kinder and love ambassadors too. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us love ambassadors, thank you for being here this morning. I love you. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Khrusty. Thank you, Janus.